Alright, hello everybody. We're on to what, week 6 of Pickems now? Um, yeah, my week 4 has not been super great. I've had a lot of reds, unfortunately. Still waiting on a couple of games to be finished off and entered in, I guess. Still waiting on one from week 3 and one from week 2 as well. But currently, at the moment, I am sitting atop the standings, so that is something. Um, who knows how long I'll stay there because I've had definitely some very not great weeks. Nothing this week still, but yeah, there's the matchups for this week. So we'll just start going down them. With the ampharos matchups, go over to the matchup center. And the first matchup of the day, as you see there, is the Seattle Kraken. Seattle Kraken versus the New Jersey Devil Plume. So Giratina, Tapu Fini, Umbreon, Magnezone, Swellow, Rhyperior. I guess we should probably look at the standings as well for Ampharos. We've got New Jersey Devil Plume sitting at 4th and Seattle Kraken at 2nd. So potentially pretty even matchup here. Both of these coaches have been doing pretty decently this season. Fluttermane is pretty decent. Um, like, obviously, Mega Sharpedo can kind of threaten it if Mega Sharpedo can get a speed boost up before it Megas. Um, because Fluttermane is obviously not the strongest defensively. But got another speed booster on the other team. Speed boost. Lycanroc Dust for some revenging or some something like that. Ursulina Blood Moon for some big hits. I guess I should look up what Mind's Eye actually does. Mind's Eye ability. Okay, so it is a scrappy type ability. Can't be accuracy lowered, okay. Fair enough. So yeah, basically it's a scrappy type ability. So even Giratina is not necessarily a switch into the Blood Moon, but obviously it is gonna not have to worry about that ground stab. Mm. Yeah, I don't know. This is a tough matchup to start with, I think. What do I reckon? What do I reckon? I reckon. Hmm. Most people are going with the New Jersey Devil Plumes, and while I get that, Buffini isn't a terrible answer for King Gambit, but then again, like, well, because they're both hitting each other neutrally. King Gambit into Giratina, I guess. Ursaluna can't really. Ursaluna is obviously really bulky. So is Giratina. I think. Think I do have to go with the Mega Blaziken team and with the majority here and pick the New Jersey Devil Plume. So let's go with that, and we'll look at the next matchup: Ladner Lantern versus Los Santos Sceptiles. Um, but we're looking at Ladner Lantern down in 13th with the Los Santos Septiles 7. Yet everyone is still backing Ian. I guess Los Santos Septiles haven't played their week 4 match yet, so. Um, but I mean, I do think I say this every week, and every week Ian lets me down. But I do think that Ian's team looks pretty decent into the Los Santos Septars here. Lana Lantern, I think, does look pretty strong. The Jolteon is nice to deal with things like the Crawdor and the Primarina. Um, Moltres is decent to try and get a burn onto the Mega Lopunny. Mamoswine seems like it has a decent matchup because even like the Moltres is still going to be hurt by an Icicle Crash. Um, like Melmetal being the ice switch in, still weak to ground. Miltank. I mean, Miltank's gonna probably be the Mamoswine check or something, right? But um, look, I'm gonna go with Ian here as well. Seems like I'm just going with the majority, but I mean, I've picked Ian so many times. He's let me down so many times. He can't keep letting me down forever. So let's fingers crossed he gets a win this week. And then we got Voracious Vileplume versus Super Zeb Strikers. Johan sitting in 11th. And Zeb sitting in 6th. But Zeb hasn't played his week 4 match by the looks. Otherwise, it's looking pretty even. It seems that most people are going with Zeb in this matchup, but I think while Johan has been letting me down half the time as well, I do think that Johan's team isn't necessarily is not terrible into the Super Zeb Strikers for whatever reason. Vileplume seems like it could be pretty good into like the Pangoro, Dragonite, Tinkaton. It does sit on Rotom-Mow pretty decently as well. Flame is obviously an issue, but then you've got things like Screamtail, which is just going to be bulky as. Um, the Hacker's not going to like it. Conkelda. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Johan here. Just I've been backing him once again this whole season, so I got to keep backing him, and hopefully that turns out well for me. We can only fingers crossed. And then we got Midnight Carpal Riders versus the Peterborough Palpitoads. Which is MCR right up the top there, 3-1, and Peterborough Palpitoads right down the bottom, 1-3. Not been a good season for Gry, but for Orn, he's been having a pretty good season, and that's probably going to be why I'm going to go with the Midnight Carpal Riders. Zamazenta Crowned seems to have been tearing it up quite a bit. And just the rest of his team looks pretty nasty to try and deal with, to be honest. With the only, I guess, non-legendaries being Samurott, Haunter, and Dodrio. Once again, not that this is unwinnable for Gry, but obviously he hasn't been having the best of seasons. Orn's been doing pretty well. Doesn't mean he's going to keep winning, but yeah, I don't know. It's just what I'm going to pick for this time round. Bridgeport Bullers versus Springfield Starmies. Which Bullers down here, 1-3. Springfield Starmies at 10 with the 2-2. So doing a little bit better um Sark and the Bridgeport Bullers. Feels like Sark hasn't necessarily been abusing the Zygarde as much as he did last season. And he keeps bringing Tapu Bulu to everything. Though I guess Tapu Bulu's not looking too bad into a Starmie Azumarill. But then obviously you got things like the Vikavolt, Gougy, which is going to really hurt it, Crocodile, Galarian Moltres. Spectria, if Chansey wasn't here, Spectria looks pretty decent. But then, like, if Chansey comes, then Chansey comes, and things like the Blaziken, even maybe the Zygarde can set up on that. Depending on what sets are brought and stuff like that, I guess. But I think I'm going to side here with the majority and go for the Springfield Starmies against Sark. And yeah, once again, pretty much just picking off vibes, having a look at the teams, a little bit of a look at the standings, and then picking on vibes for the rest. And then we got Brooklyn Blastoises versus Tentacruel Pirates. And Ditto just wins it, right? Nah. But Ogerpon Cornerstone does threaten the Mudsdale a little bit, unless Mudsdale has got some sturdies set up already, some staminas, sorry. Skeledirge, I don't know who wins out of Petront and that. There's obviously Porygon Z. Ting Lu kind of does wall the Skeledirge quite well. Obviously, Ting Lu struggles on the recovery aspect, but it's bulky enough that the Skeledirge will have trouble burning through it. And then obviously Greninja has the type matchup against a Skeledirge as well. Palafin hitting Ogerpon for neutral, whereas Ogerpon can hit that for super effective. To me, this seems like another pretty interesting matchup. Brooklyn Blastoise is sitting up in third, while the Tentacle Pirates are in eighth. So I think the standings on the ladder is going to be my tiebreaker here, and we'll give it to Unny and the Brooklyn Blastoises. Singapore Sobble Squad versus Swagalicious Vaporeon is up next. Dragapult versus the Coco Quill. We got a rain team. Okay, yeah. Keep forgetting that there's a rain team. So Singapore Sobble Squad sitting in fifth, while the Swagalicious Vaporeon sitting in 12th. And the Dragapult does look pretty nasty into this team. Obviously, the rain with like the Mega Swampert and the Basculegion can still be quite threatening. Um, but I think I mean, I don't know what Rotom Heat's Terra type is, but Terra Rotom Heat seems like it could be a pretty good bring. Um, Depending on Slowking's Terra type as well, that could be a good check potentially. Scizor is nice into a rain team because obviously its one weakness is lessened by the rain. But I mean, Mega Swampert's still gonna hurt it with earthquakes and stuff. But things like the Dragapult just being so fast, I guess there is a double dark type. And a normal type that's gonna kind of make it hard for Dragapult, but not impossible. I do think that the Singapore Sobble squad here might be able to bring it home this week, or week 6, I guess. It's still technically only week 5, so. And then the last matchup is Osaka Absol versus the Toronto Tusks, which that is the bottom team versus GB in the middle at 9th. Which, look, once again, this could definitely go either way. And Treads is a bit annoying to try and deal with, but then again, Great Tusk is probably one of the better things to try and deal with it, I guess. And Quaquaval, pretty decent into the Great Tusk too. Has to be worried about certain Baxcalibur sets. I mean, it does look like Gouging Fire could put in a decent amount of work as well if it can get set up nicely. But I do think that Chibi will have this matchup as well. Not that I don't think that Cam can't win this game, but yeah, I'm just gonna once again go with the standings here and back the higher seed. Yeah, so that'll be the ampharos matchup. So we'll move on to the flaaffy ones next. Flaaffy, and we have flaaffy. With Karaoke Crooks versus New York Meloettas. Looking at Karaoke Crooks in 3rd and New York Meloettas in 4th. So, and they're both in the same differential. They both lost last week. So this looks like to be a pretty interesting matchup. They've both been having decent seasons so far, so it's definitely something that I can probably go either way. Though it looks like most people are backing Fury at the moment. Is there any reason I should back Magic over Bury here? Jellicent is one of the better switch-ins to Mamoswine that you could wish for, I guess. And a bulky Celesteela might be useful into a Mamoswine as well. Mamoswine obviously has to be scared of a Mega Lopunny. Screamtail's nice bulk too. Mega Beedrill can be definitely still quite tough to deal with, but between like fake outs and quick attacks from the Megalopunny, I think it's still something that's going to need to be worried about. Obviously, Mega Beedrill's not super bulky. So I reckon Biri. I reckon I have to agree with the majority here, and Biri will take this one out. No offense, Magic, but prove me wrong, and yeah, and then I'll vote for you next week. All right. Seattle Scissors versus Indianapolis Infernape up as the second matchup in flaaffy. Mega Gallade Arcanine, Zoroark Samurott, Zeraora Crobat. I think would be what I'd look to bring in this matchup potentially. Flygon doesn't look terrible either, with U-turns on the Ting-Lu, Earthquakes on the Goldango Magnazones. Even, yeah, Ogapons maybe. Entei. You could see Flygon coming for sure. And what are we at? Seattle. We say Seattle, is that what this one is? Seattle Scissors, yeah. Versus the Indianapolis Infernapes. So mid-table versus bottom of the table. I'm going to go with the Scissors here as well. I really do look like I've been picking a lot of the majority picks this week, so right or wrong, it's not going to, excuse me, affect my standings too much. Stay hydrated, guys. Drink your fucking water. So yeah, Santa Fe Superiors and the Texas Toad Squirrels next. Santa Fe Superiors sitting in the 5th position. Texas Toad Squirrels sitting in 14th. But look, I don't think the Texas Toad Squirrels have a terrible matchup here. It is a rain team, but having Primarina and Alamamola into that rain team is not necessarily terrible. I feel like I remember the Barrascuda tearing things up. And then, I mean, Ogapon into a rain team is not going to be too terrible to bring either. Obviously not going to outspeed a Mega Swampert in the rain, but still going to threaten it. Probably bulky enough to be able to tank one hit. I reckon. Do I reckon that the Toad Squirrels here will be able to take out the Santa Fe Superiors? Do I reckon? Speed boost Yanmega. If everything gets chipped down enough, could definitely put in work. Feel like the Texas Toad Squirrels have a pretty good chance here, depending on prep and like how he's played on the day, to maybe put in some decent work. I don't know what Clodsire's Terra type is, but that could also be a good potential check for a Mega Swampert, depending on its typing, with the water absorbed there. I don't think there's necessarily anything here that you'd want to unaware on top of. Maybe like if you're worried about the download from the Genesect. Maybe if the Raging Bolt is calm wand, I don't know. But look. Oh, okay. I guess people agree with me that the Texas Toad Scores matchup looks pretty good against this one. Um, maybe not like perfectly ideal, but once again, I don't know. Santa Fe Superior is sitting at 3-1. Texas Toad Scores sitting at 1-3. But still, everyone's picking the Texas Toad Scores. Do I want to bet against the standings here? Um, you know what? No, let's go with the Santa Fe Superiors. They're higher in the standings, so they have a decent chance depending on how their play goes. Um, not used to talking this much, so I get a scratchy throat. Let's take a risk on this matchup. It won't hurt. Next, we got the Dublin Drapions versus the Los Angeles Nido Kings. Which, yeah, okay, that's where we're at. Got a Dragapult team again. We do have our Bolivar here with the Sneasler. Los Angeles Nido Kings sitting down in 13th, while the Dublin Drapions sitting in 7th. So not super one-sided. What team do I like the look of more? Both of these teams just feel super awkward to me. And Oliver into Sneasler is nice, but does Sneasler solo? Not really with the Skarmory there. Skarmory can't even be Diaclawed to be statused. I mean, Iron Bundle, but then there's Vaporeon. Oliver doesn't have fun with Ninetales. Or guess Mega Metacham, if it doesn't Terra. This matchup is definitely an interesting one with looking at these two teams. I reckon I will go. I reckon I will go with the majority here and do the Los Angeles Nido Kings. I don't know. I like the team slightly more. Just slightly. Ground weakness, flying weakness, rock weakness, ghost weakness into double ground, double ghost. Actually, flying doesn't matter. And rock type. Yeah, rock type doesn't matter either. But double ground, double ghost into a ghost and ground weak team is kind of interesting. Obviously, you do have the immunities with the Gyarados and the Arboliver for both of those, but still, no dark type to make the ghost types worry. Once again, I don't know their terrors, but what ice, flying, and ghost weakness. No ghost type, but the Iron Bundle and Pile Swine. Not that Pile Swine is necessarily going to be too offensive, but Iron Bundle with the Ice type moves. Flying. I mean Gyarados, but what? It doesn't really get flying moves, right? So that's not necessarily a huge deal. I guess Sneasler could be like Terraflying or something. Once again, I'm not sure on that. Um, I don't think it's gonna make me change my matchup too much though. Yeah, I mean, a Ghost weakness into Dragapult is quite interesting as well, but um, no, you know what? Actually, screw it. Dublin Drapions can definitely win this one. Don't know if they will, but they definitely can. So let's take another risk here, and we'll do that. Hamilton Torracats versus Anchorage Arcanines. We've got Anchorage Arcanines sitting in first place currently. Hamilton Torracats in 11th, 1-2 to 3-1. Um, Definitely looks like it's going to be a tough matchup for Gareth here. But Ursaluna is nice and bulky. Chimpao, while can hit the Annihilate pretty hard, definitely has to worry about those drain punches. Same with Mega Aggron, need to worry about those drain punches. I mean, Meloetta is not a terrible Annihilate answer because obviously it can't be hit by those Ghost type moves and is neutral to the fighting type moves, but mm, I'm just gonna go with Gareth here. He hasn't been having the best season, but um, let's do it. I don't think he has the worst matchup here. So Sandy Shocks is kind of scary. Eh, But I mean, like, look, Sandy Shocks would be kind of scary, but Killer Watcher was probably one of the best kind of switch-ins you can have into a electric flying type that's immune to electric type moves. I do think Sandy Shocks gets rock type moves, but can hopefully play around that. Whatever. Let's go, Gareth. I believe. I believe you can do it. And then we got New York Onyx versus the Teacher, which New York Onyx sitting in second, and the Teacher sitting in 6. I mean, Tapu Fini is a decent switch into the Palafin, right? Like a Pidgeot could be annoying to deal with them, but Snack Attacker. Like Absol's nice to have around with Amongus's annoyingness. Or Fire Eyes annoyingness as well. Like Absol definitely helps with that. Gotta worry about the Blaziken. Um, because it does beat the Scolipede, but I mean Tapu Fini quite often threatens that Blaziken as well. And maybe the defensive boosted Zamazenta is enough to scare Blaziken out, but so yeah, I'm going to go with the majority here and go teacher as well. I believe that Jay can definitely win this matchup. So, and then we got LA Crams versus Kent State Golden Flash Cannons. Spectria Zygarde Cresselia. LA Crams sitting where in 10th and Kent State in 12th. So potentially pretty even matchup. I think Spectria does kind of threaten the Giratina, but obviously the Giratina threatens it right back. Giratina does threaten the Cresselia too. Zygarde can obviously still hit the flying types. It is earth type moves, ground type moves. Um, yeah, I don't know. I do think overall, um, like the Crams do have a scary looking team, but I do think that Zippy and the Kent State Golden Flash Cannons will ultimately take this game out. So I'm gonna go there. And then we got uh, Kelowna Crocodiles versus the Farmington Feraligators. Um, which is ninth versus bottom. 9th versus 16th. Dondozo. I mean, Dondozo looks pretty good into this rain team, to be honest. Obviously, I believe the unawares cancel out the photosynthesis boost from the sun. um, obviously, sun are gonna weaken Dondozo's stab moves, but I mean, Mudsdale into Slitherwing doesn't seem bad. I mean, obviously, Fluttermane is going to be interesting. Don't really have something to tank the Fluttermane. I mean, Shedinja is obviously very annoying to prep around. But no, I think I am going to go with the Kelowna Crocodiles here as well. And that will be all my flaaffy matchups. We'll go into the mareep ones next. First up, which is the Neon Strike Galleons versus the Detroit Oblivion Wings. Which Detroit Oblivion Wings sitting at 7th, with the Neon Strike Galleons sitting in 14th. I mean, Rotom Heat's a pretty decent kind of way to try and deal with the Blaziken, at least a little bit. Mm. I mean, Uxie is not terrible either. Got to watch out for Superior, but Mega Beedrill does threaten the Superior quite a lot. Yeah, it does kind of threaten the Noivern a little bit. Mega Sizzle obviously got the Rotom Heat that can switch into that. Pain Split. Stuff like that. I mean, Steelix is not a terrible Mega Sizzle switch in either. I guess it does have superpower, but Steelix is physically bulky as all heck. I reckon I will go with the Detroit Oblivion Wings here, though. he's not necessarily having the best season, but is having a slightly better season than the Neon Strike Kobaus. Up next, we got Mogul Mercenaries versus LA Clodsires. 13 versus LAC. Am I blind? Oh no, just down the bottom. Okay. Um. Hmm. And Xianpao doesn't do a terrible job. Mudsdale can obviously stamina up on it. But it's also not going to appreciate taking icicle crashes and stuff like that. Um, Pretty close matchup. I just did a quick look like this. Stellar Stealer doesn't feel too bad to swap into the Ursaluna here. Um, no, I don't know. I reckon I will go with LAC here. I mean, Mobile Mercenaries team does look kind of annoying to deal with as well. And but Talonflame, like the Flame Body, potentially could be a good switch into the Ascarada half the time. Um, Paldean Wooper is obviously going to be the bring to switch into Urshifu. Between the poison typing and the water absorb, then Urshifu cannot really touch Wooper. That is a little bit of sarcasm, but yeah. No, I do think the LAC is potentially going to win in this matchup, so we'll see. That's what we'll go with. And then we've got Saboudi's Squirtle Squad versus the Adelaide Overheat. And so, as usual, I'm going to vote myself. I do not necessarily like this matchup at all. Looking at it at the moment, it does look quite tough for me to deal with. I have no one to lose to Mega Pinsir before, so definitely something to worry about. Um, I mean, I think the only Pokemon here that I haven't lost to before are the Iron Boulder and the Pheasantipity. Um, and that's only because I haven't played them before, so. And maybe the Donphan. I haven't lost to a Donphan, but I have lost to a team with a Donphan, so. But yeah, anyway, as I said, this whole season I'm going to back myself, so I will pick myself every time. Not even a choice. And then we've got Hollywood Hawlucha versus the Olympic Lyron. Now Olympic Lyron sitting at 12. Russ did beat me though. Hollywood Hawlucha sitting at second, but I did beat Cade. Does that mean Russ beats Cade? I don't really think so. But you never know. You never know how these matchups are going to go, but I am going to go with the Hollywood Howluchas for this one. So, Atlantic Skidoo versus Wise Hunchcrows. Tiff did beat Hamu. A lot of man putting in work for sure, for sure. But I do feel like the Wise Hunch Crows potentially have this matchup. Um, so they're pretty close in the ladder, but yeah, no, I'm going to go with the Wise Hunch Crows here. Then we got mm, um, Mandalicious Buzzers versus Vermilion City Zero Auras. Once again, Moltres versus Mega Lopunny matchup. Moltres can potentially get some flame bodies there. Um, where are the Mandalicious Buzzers sitting at fifth? Million City Zero Aura sitting at 15th. I think I will go with the Mandalicious Buzzers here. I do feel like Luna can definitely bring a win out here, but I do feel like the Mandalicious Buzzers have the potential to do really well as well. So let's just go with that. Chicago Bewares versus Beachware. Hamu not having the best season, sitting at 2-2. That's definitely underperforming for what people expected from him, but obviously it's been a while since he's played here, so who knows. Chicago Bewares got a Drag Bolt, Vegas Lobo, Luna, Glamora. We have a Dondozo though, which is nice. Ursaluna wants to harm mine or anything like that. Dondozo is going to be nice there. Great Tusk does threaten some stuff, but Mega Slowbro is decent to have around for one of them. Mega Slowbro definitely tough to deal with, but like Scizor, Kilowatt Drill, not bad in that aspect. What deals with Dragapult though? I guess it might struggle to kill Chi-Yu in one hit, and Chi-Yu can definitely hit it back super hard. And if it's Scarf, Chi-Yu or something like that, definitely something for Dragapult to worry about. Do I think Hamu can win this matchup? Definitely do. But I do think the Chicago Bears have the potential as well. And they have been playing well. So let's go with the Chicago Bears as we head into the last matchup, the Lagrange Greninjas versus the Atlanta Overlords. We've got Lagrange sitting at 3-1 and 6, and Atlanta Overlords sitting at 2-2 in 8th. So not a huge discrepancy in ladder there at the moment either. Um, I mean, Palafin has the Volcanion to try and deal with. Volcanion seems like pretty decent switch into Palafin actually. Um, then Volcanion is definitely tough for things like the King Gambit and the Iron Crown. Salazzle, Diancie, Hippowdon. Volcanion has a pretty good matchup here if it can be kept alive against like the Dracozolt. The Dracozolt being the biggest issue. I think but luckily there's a Jolteon there. No, I think actually Mortal's got the matchup here. It's gonna be tough for Austin to try and deal with this matchup. Um just at a quick glance. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Mortal and the Lagrange Greninjas here, and yeah, that'll be my pick'ems for week 6. And so we'll see how we go by the end of this week, and we'll see you next week for week 7's pick'ems. I'll catch you then, guys, and peace.